everyone, welcome back. We are up to something a little different today, so decided we'd take you along and show you what we're up to. Yeah, we're recycling some used wire here. So what we're going to be doing is what I'm making is a couple of cages to go around some seedling trees. Okay, these are small trees, and the reason I'm making cages out of this wire, and what we'll do, we'll put this around the seedling and take a T-post, drive in, tie it up to protect the seedling from deer. We have a overabundance of deer, and pretty much anything you set out around here, they're going to find it and they're going to eat it. And these two trees are I think pretty special, so we want to protect them. So what I'm going to do, I'm just we'll cut us off a piece of this, and let's see if we can get you guys set up here. Overlook the mess. That's a good thing about a farm. You always got scrap something or other laying around. So we'll cut us off a piece of this, and then we'll just roll it up and tie it together. Then we'll talk a little bit more about what we're doing. So let me get this cut and folded up and rolled up, and get all the stuff gathered up, and we'll take you guys and we'll talk about what we're doing, why we're doing it, and all that good stuff. So be right back. Okay, I think we've got everything we need. We made us two of our little wire cages. We got a T-post driver, two T-posts, a shovel, and a box over there. All right, so what are we doing here? As you can see, we're in the edge of the woods. Not in the woods, but along the edge, because the trees we're setting out like sun, but I don't want to put them out in the field and make them too bushy. I want to put them along the transitional area to make them get leggy, and so make them grow tall like a timber tree, as you can see, you know, like some of these. So what are we setting out? Well, what we're setting out is American chestnuts. Now, a little bit about the American chestnut, if you're unfamiliar with it. It was a dominant species in the Appalachians. My grandpa was born in 1918, just across the mountain here, and lived his entire life, other than time and service, here in these mountains. And he would talk about the chestnuts, how abundant they were. They grew huge. They were a great timber species. They produced a very good wood that was easy to work with. In other words, you know, it wasn't real hard like some of the oaks or hickories. Easy to work with, very rot resistant, insect resistant, blah 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 blah. It was like the perfect, it was like the redwoods of the East, is what they were. And somewhere in the early 1900s, I don't remember, I think 1908, maybe somewhere in there, there was the chestnut blight was introduced somewhere in the Northeast. And I've read it repeated times, but I just can't right off the top of my head. I don't want to misquote. So somewhere in the Northeast. And anyhow, it devastated the American chestnuts. They had no resistance to it, and it just killed them. But today, you can still find, on occasion, American chestnuts in the woods. They come back from old stumps. I mean, we're talking over 100 years now. Seedlings, and occasionally you will find one that'll get big enough to have chestnuts on it. About 30 years ago, I don't know whether you can see it or not, but there's a peak right there. Just down on from that peak, I found one that was about the size of that maple right there, and it had chestnuts on it. Kicked myself a million times for not picking up the chestnuts and bringing them home and planting them, but I didn't. So I went back the next year to see if it had chestnuts on it, and it had died of the blight, and it had like a rust on the bark, but it had died. Also, 30-40 years ago, I used to work in areas that were clear cut, and we would go in there and do some work in those once they started growing back, and you would find American chestnut seedlings. And occasionally I'll still find one in the woods, you know. My dad was telling me the other day that my uncle, his brother, had found one that had chestnuts on it this year. That's a little bit about the American chestnut. So what I've got here, now there's been a lot of work done to try to bring the chestnut back. There's some crossing, or they cross them with the Chinese and then take the result of that cross and back cross it and this, that, and the other. There's also some work being done with implanting a gene into some American chestnuts to give them blight resistance, basically like a GMO product. And then there's been work where they're cultivating American chestnuts 100% pure and trying to let it develop a natural immunity. So they like full sun, but I don't want to put them just out in the field somewhere. Like I said, I want to kind of force them to grow tall, and that's the reason I'm putting them in the transitional period area here. So these are 100% American. I bought them, and I can't remember the name. I'll look on the box here in a minute ago. I bought them, and my goal is, with the sawmill and everything, is I'm going to harvest some of this timber on back through here, and as I harvest it, I would like to plant American chestnuts back in those openings. So just to see if we can get something established, see how it goes. So something neat, something I wanted to try. So what we're going to do, we're going to plant one here and then one down there, and we're just starting with two. They're not cheap, and so we're going to start with two. So what we'll do, we'll dig us a hole, and then we'll put our cage around it, put us a T-post, and do all that. So here we go. Surprise, surprise, there's a rock there. So what we'll do, we'll find us another spot here somewhere. We may go down here and just plant them both in that area. I don't really want to, but we might. But yeah, there's a sandstone in there. Not that surprising around here. So let's see if we can find us another spot. Okay, so what we got here is a 1-year-old American chestnut seedling, and we've finally found a spot to plant the first one. Okay, and what I'll do is put the cage down over it now, and stake it in, and then we will water it in good, so that we get good soil to root contact. But as you can see another reason why I'm going to try to cage them, so I can keep up with where they're at. And we'll probably try to put the other one right up there. Yeah, probably will. Probably put it right up there, and then we can come in and I can cut some of these smaller saplings down here and give them a little more light. They'll have some shade from like that maple there and stuff, but they'll have quite a bit of sun too. So let's get back to work. Okay, we've got them planted. You can see the other one right there. We tied our little cage to our T-post there. I think we should be fine. It won't move around. Tied good and tight. This one's in more sun, that one's in a little more shade. We may clear some of this stuff here out, some of these saplings, and see which one of these does the best. It'll be curious to see how they do, but this one was actually much easier digging than that one. You can see it's there, and some of the poplars I was talking about, I don't know how the camera will catch them, but those are some pretty good sized poplars. Then we got a hard maple right there, but we'll see. And like I said, my plan is we'll start with two. We'll see how two of them do, and I may set a few every year. You can also buy chestnuts from these folks. Start your own. Let's see what's in the box. So this is where I got them from. There's no sponsorship or nothing like that. These are not cheap, but this is a little thank you card. America's Trees is the place, and it says on the tag, we get out of the sun where we can read it if we can. American chestnut seedling, 1 year old. Says it grows to 110 feet tall, needs pollinator, grows in soil pH 4.5 to 6.5, water often during establishment. So that's and that's the place right there. But anyhow, we'll see. They we'll see how they do. And yes, if it doesn't rain, I will water these for probably, I may water them every day for 2 or 3 days, and then, you know, depending on the rainfall, maybe once a week. Of course, everything's dormant right now, but I want to keep those roots adequate moisture. And of course, going into winter time, it should. But we'll see how that goes. Hope you guys found that neat and interesting. I do. Like I said, I grew up on stories of the American chestnut. And the lumber, a lot of the old barns and buildings when I was a boy were still built out of the chestnut. And a lot of them were torn down, and people used it for furniture and cabinetry, wormy chestnut, and stuff like that. But the saying was, when the American chestnut was around in Appalachia, your cradle was made out of wormy chestnut when you were a baby, and they built you a coffin out of it when they buried you. So, you know, your home was built out of it, your barns was built out of it. It was just a premier species. And Grandpa would talk about them in the fall of the year fattening hogs on chestnuts. They'd turn them out in the woods and let them eat the chestnuts, fatten them up. So, you know, that's it's neat. It's always interested me, and you know, they are around. I don't guess they'd be listed as extinct. I don't know what they're listed as, actually. But you will find one occasionally, but the blight does eventually kill them. I don't know whether there's any treatments for the blight or anything like that. I just am unaware of it. But, you know, through natural selection, maybe eventually we will get some that have a natural tolerance to it. And, you know, what's it going to hurt to set a few out and see what happens? So anyhow, if you like this kind of thing, give it a thumbs up. Or if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you like kind of what we do a little bit of everything. And we'll struggle with the technicalities of shooting videos sometimes, but that's part of it. Hit that subscribe button and follow around. And until next time, everyone take care of yourself, and we'll talk to you later.